And realistically, and I'm just going to say it, realistically, there will be people faking. You might not see the complete truth. You might have to think of, why do they show it in this way? Well, it's supposed to be a funny video. And that was a very harmful thing. And that kind of made the whole community implode. You don't have to like the type of content, but not liking someone's content does not make them fake. So yeah, even with me, people might see me in public and be like, hey, he's not ticking, that must mean that he is faking. And honestly, sometimes it feels like that. Hi, I'm Luca and I make videos about Tourette's. And today I want to do a video based on a question or suggestion that someone gave me in my community tab. And that question was, could you talk on why you think faking stuff is becoming more popular? I would really enjoy hearing another person's thought on this topic. You don't have to do this, but it would be nice as you're always very respectful in the videos you make. First of all, thank you that you think that I'm respectful. I try. And thank you for the suggestion. I think that it is a very interesting topic. I did have to think a bit about how I wanted to approach this topic, but I'm just going to rant and see where this ends up. So I think the question, why you think faking stuff is more popular, that kind of suggests that faking stuff is more popular. And I'm not sure if that is true necessarily. I do think that especially online, there is more content about people faking stuff. Yeah, if you look up like Tourette's TikTok compilations, you'll often also find the people faking disabilities compilations, and there are Reddit groups, and just look at the comments of many Tourette's content creators. There's a lot of people usually arguing about whether that person is faking or not. And I think I want to talk about that more. I want to talk about why I think that is and why it's not productive. First of all, I want you to know that I'm not trying to attack anyone, no content creators or anyone in comment sections. I'm not attacking you personally. I think it's important that we have discussions about this because I think that there is a harmful movement going on, because I think many people that do this from a right place. Not all of them, but many of them are. I think that by engaging in healthy conversation, we can make stuff a bit better. So yeah, I'm not trying to attack anyone. I just want to have a normal conversation about this, all right? So the whole situation of people getting accused of being fake is of course not new, especially people with invisible conditions and invisible disabilities have always had this problem. Just think about how some people will get screamed at if they park at a disabled parking lot when they're not in a wheelchair, or things like that. People that are in wheelchairs but are able to walk, how they get just bashed, stuff like that. People with Tourette's get this a lot. I've heard from so many people, and that's my experience as well in real life, that people don't believe you, that they question your diagnosis just because it's not visible, even though of course tics are visible, but the cause of the tics is not. So that's nothing new. Also online, this has always existed, but I do think that it's becoming more prevalent, and that's why I think we do need to discuss this again. I have talked about this before. This is part of my Faking Tourette's series, but I do want to go over some of those points and yeah, bring in some new points, put it in a different perspective. Oh, I want to start by saying that it is impossible to tell, especially on social media, whether someone is faking their tics or not. Because one, you're not that person's doctor, you're not that person. And especially TikTok, where you have only a few seconds clips of someone. Even a doctor would not be able to diagnose someone just based on those snippets of someone's life. And whatever people are posting online, it's edited. You're only seeing a small portion of what they want to show you. And You can't tell just by watching that little portion whether someone is faking or not. And as I also explained in the video about how you cannot tell if someone is faking, everyone's Tourette's is different. And just because you know something of one person with Tourette's doesn't mean that everyone else's tics and Tourette's need to be the same. They are usually not. Ayo! And I think that trying to point out whether someone is faking or not, and these whole like groups of people in comment sections I think it's really harmful, because ayo, you might be wrong, even if you are like 99% convinced that you are right. What if you're wrong, right? You might be attacking someone who is sharing their true story. And for what reason? What is the point of it? What do you think can come from it? I don't think that there is a plus side to that. Ayo. And it makes life as a content creator quite difficult. I'm still very lucky that I don't have these comments yet. I don't know why. They will come at some point, I'm sure of it, but they're not, I haven't had them yet. And even I feel the effects of reading the comment sections of other people with Tourette's that I love watching. I feel the effects of that. I find myself, when editing, worrying that I might not have ticked enough, or how I show my tics, because again, you edit your videos, even though I try to be real, the end version of the video you see is not just me. It's me in a very specific time frame, at a very specific time of day, and with tics edited out sometimes, and it is not completely real. It's not a completely real translation. So to have to make these choices of where to keep your tics in, if it is a more serious video, maybe I'll take more tics out, and when it's more a light-hearted type of video, I'll leave more tics in. And these are weird things to do in and of themselves. But then to also have to worry about whether people will believe you if you do that, and if it's genuine enough, that's a weird thing to do. And even for people that are not like filming themselves, putting themselves online, reading those comments might really make it very difficult for them to talk about their Tourette's. Because again, some people's Tourette's is not even that visible. You might not even see it. Ayo. So why is it that there are more people now? Why are these comments and these types of compilation videos of people faking disorders, why are they more prevalent now? I thought about this a bit, and I'm not completely sure. This is of course just my theory, but I think there are like different things happening at the same time. One of them is that Tourette's content is more widespread. There's more of it, and it's more like popular in general. So more people that usually don't really get into contact with Tourette's content are now seeing people with Tourette's, and they might not fully understand the disorder. Tourette's is something that many people have some idea of what it is, but honestly, there's a lot that people don't know. There's even still a lot that doctors, that the medical professionals don't know exactly, but especially in the wider community, Tourette's is very much misunderstood. And that's the reason why I wanted to make these videos, is to spread more awareness, more education, more of a nuanced approach, and not just show a very specific type of Tourette's, a very specific type of tics, but what it's really like, not just my experience, but also other people's experiences. Because I think that some of these judgments come from the fact that people don't really understand what Tourette's really is. They might think that tics have to be there all of the time, that if someone tics in a certain situation, they have to tic in every situation, that tics have to sound a certain way, that they have to look a certain way, and else it's fake. And that's not the case. Tics can be very varied. They don't have to be there all of the time. They can be gone for days, for hours. There are usually situations where people don't tic. For me, usually it's when I'm editing, when I'm coding. When I'm gaming, I don't really tic. When I'm outside, I don't tic a lot because I suppress my tics even subconsciously. So yeah, even with me, people might see me in public and be like, hey, he's not ticking, that must mean that he is faking. And honestly, sometimes it feels like that. I've also made a video about imposter syndrome with Tourette's and why even we sometimes feel like we are faking, even if we have an official diagnosis and feel and know rationally that we're not faking. We do sometimes feel like that because our tics can be so different. And then imagine having loads of people tell you that you are faking. It's not helpful at all. Yeah, so I think that it's part of it is misunderstanding from a broader audience. We've also seen this with dissociative identity disorder, that when that became more well known with some content creators, I won't name them of course, and with some videos becoming very widespread to an audience that doesn't really know a lot about that disorder, that there was this whole group of people trying to figure out who of the DID community were faking and who were not. And that was a very harmful thing. And that kind of made the whole community implode. And I would hate that to happen with Tourette's, because I like the fact that there's a lot of Tourette's content because it spreads awareness. It might help someone who doesn't understand that what they are experiencing is tics, to go and get help, to get the proper diagnosis, to make them feel not alone and see themselves represented in other people. So I would hate for our community to implode because of this outside pressure of figuring out who is fake and who is not. So I think that's part of it. And I also think that it's the nature of the medium, right? My media studies background coming up here. And I already touched upon this a little bit, that you're not seeing someone exactly as they are. This is not like a mirror. No matter what the type of content is, there's always an edit. There's always a way that this person is framed, and that's the way that they want to show themselves to you. And maybe it's because my content is usually a bit more educational or like serious somewhat, that people don't really look at me and say that I'm faking. Whereas some people make more like fun entertainment type of videos. And because of that, if you're making a more like fun entertainment type of video, you'll show your tics differently. And that might come across as, oh, that Tourette's is just quirky or fun, and if they really had this, then they wouldn't show their Tourette's as quirky or fun because it's a serious disability. But that doesn't have to be the case. It can be so empowering to show your tics in a positive manner, to show those types of tics, when the only way that the media used to portray us was either by making fun of us or by these like heavy documentaries of people, of children suffering from their tics and ripping families apart and all of that. That is not empowering at all. And then to show yourself on a platform like TikTok, for example, that is more quirky and fun and high paced, and show your disorder in a positive light can be really empowering. You don't have to like that. I mean, I know that there are people from the Tourette community that don't really like that type of content because they think it's too lighthearted, which is fine. You don't have to like the type of content, but not liking someone's content does not make them fake, and not liking a certain person doesn't make them fake, right? It's, you know, even terrible people can have genuine disorders. It's not So I think this started with people not really understanding Tourette's, it becoming more well known, and the nature of especially TikTok and more entertaining types of videos becoming more popular. And that started to snowball. And now you're getting these bubbles of groups of people that are looking for proof of people faking. And I think that with these last 2 years, we have learned that confirmation bias, especially on social media, can become very harmful. That if you're looking for proof for certain things to be false, you're going to find it. And especially when you're in this bubble of people that truly believe that something is fake, you surround yourself with people who agree with you and who might even take it one step further. And this snowball of confirmation bias starts to form. I think that many of these people think that they are doing a good thing, that they are helping genuinely disabled people or people with genuine Tourette's. But I think that most of these people will have 1 or 2 or 3 creators or people that they believe are real. And if you believe that I'm real, hi, I'm real. It's just, the hair color is fake. The rest of it is, it's all right. But if you believe that I'm real, then you might be doing it for people like me, right? But I'm telling you that I don't care if any of these content creators, I don't want to say names because I don't want to like feed into the confirmation bias. This is like a weird thing to have to juggle, but let's just call them Harry. I don't know if there's a content creator with Tourette called Harry. If there is, it's not personal. I'm just making up a name here, but I don't care if Harry is faking. Honestly, I don't think it really matters, because it's just one person. And yeah, I think that these comments are more harmful than one person faking online. And realistically, and I'm just going to say it, realistically, there will be people faking, but I don't care. I don't think that it's really important if they pick it up as a face or as something to get easy clicks. They won't be able to keep doing that forever. And I'm happy for them, because that means they don't have Tourette's, and they'll probably come to some understanding that this is something that they can't keep up. And that means that they can't keep making content forever, or they have to come clean, which would also be, great. And I would still support them wholeheartedly if they did that. So this is a question that I'm kind of curious about. And I want this to be an open discussion and no fighting in the comments, please. Because I know that there are people that watch me that have Tourette's, and there are people that watch me that don't have Tourette's, or people that just kind of click on this for the first time. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. I'm sorry. I have to say that, right? No, but because there's like a mixture of people watching my content, I don't want this to become an argument. I want this to be a place where we can have an honest discussion. So if you don't have Tourette's and you do, and you are part, first of all, of for example, the Reddit groups that, or some of these other websites where they look into who is faking their tics, or if you comment that on some people's videos that some person that you sure is faking, or if you just think it sometimes, if you are very worried about that, and if you're really convinced about that, if you believe me, what is the difference? Because I kind of want to know. In this video, I wanted to find out or come to some conclusion of why this is more of a movement now. But it's difficult for me to understand exactly why some people get these comments more and some people don't. I also think that part of it is that I think girls and women and teenagers believe less, but I also know that there are guys that get the same type of critique and comments. So I think that's part of it. Like, just from a societal thing, I don't think that you do it because of that, I'm sure. But what makes you think that some people are faking, what not? Like, what are those things? And what do you personally get out of it from trying to figure that stuff out? I would really be interested in finding that out, because I think that just by getting angry at each other, nothing is getting solved. And this is just going to become an online fight that we've seen before on so many different platforms and with so many different things. And I don't want to continue that. I think that's not something I want to do. And yeah, I do think that just genuine education about Tourette's is very important, and other tic disorders and other disorders that can cause tic-like symptoms but are not Tourette's. Because there are so many different ways and different forms and ways in which people can present Tourette's. I made a video about different tic disorders because I've had some comments from people that were questioning someone's Tourette's because they said that, well, they only have vocal tics and you need to have both motor and vocal tics to have Tourette's. And that is true, first of all, but also you might not see their motor tics. Their motor tics can be very subtle. They might just be, I don't know, flexing a muscle or doing something very small that you can't see. They might not have motor tics right now because, yes, you need to have both motor and vocal tics, but they don't have to be there at the same time or all of the time. You just need to have them. And there are tic disorders where you don't need to have both motor and vocal tics. I made a video about that. I will link that in the card. I'm getting better at pointing at the right corner. If they change the corner, I'm going to get angry. But there are so many different ways in which people can present their tics, and the way that they present their tics to you might not be how their tics really are. I think that's my conclusion, or my theory really, that the people that get the most comments are either just the biggest creators because they just, you know, get the most views and therefore the most hate. That kind of sadly comes with the territory, but you know, that's true. And they might be people that do the more, it's a bit more of the over the top, more entertainment value type of content that is just a lot of tics a lot of the time. But just know that that is only a snippet, just a little part into that person's life. And it's edited, or it's just a little part. You might not see the complete truth. You might have to think of, why do they show it in this way? Well, it's supposed to be a fun, funny video. It's fun for people with Tourette's to laugh with each other, to recognize yourself and be, well, that's a funny tic. So of course they're going to show those tics, and maybe just those tics, especially on TikTok where you just have a few seconds to show something. That doesn't mean that the rest of their day or the little bits that are cut out are the same. They keep in the best bits because it's supposed to be a fun, entertaining video. That's how they choose to portray their Tourette's, and that is empowering, and that's their choice. And I completely agree with that. I personally don't exactly make those videos, but I have an idea of a maybe different channel or a different type of video series where it's not really educational, and yeah, it is kind of monetizing my Tourette's, which I also am. I'm monetizing this video. I monetize my stuff. So how is that all right? I'm going too fast between different subjects. I can do this. Yeah, because there's this critique of that people are just using Tourette's as a way to monetize themselves, right? They are misusing that Tourette's, even though it's their Tourette's. Tourette's is not like it's not like we all have one Tourette and all these people are using the Tourette. It's their story, and it's their choice of how they want to present that. And it's a bit of a false equivalence maybe, but it might work. Is when, for example, with women who dress in a more revealing way, that some people might take offense to that and say that they are misrepresenting femininity or women. It's that critiquing that you shouldn't do that because women should dress in a more respectful way because that is how women should look. But it's their choice. It's their body. It's the way that they want to present themselves, and they don't have to censor themselves or make themselves different just because other people would rather show themselves or show their femininity in another way, right? This is, I think, also especially towards, I think, some of the people from the Tourette community that don't really like the more over-the-top, fun entertainment type of content, which I understand. I understand that you could look at this and feel, well, I don't think it's funny. I don't think my disability is funny. Please don't do this. I understand that, but also understand that it's their choice to present their Tourette's in the way that they want. And the fact that we can do this now is something that I think is very empowering and very cool. And we shouldn't police or gatekeep the ways that people are allowed to show their own Tourette's. Ayo! if you don't like that type of content, then don't watch it. I think you can critique it in and of itself. You can say, well, I don't really like this because I personally feel it's not entertaining. Personally, I don't really watch those videos because I'm not on TikTok, but I don't know. Some of them are really fun. Sometimes I react to Tourette's TikToks and I think it's really fun. I don't think it's harmful. And I also don't think that it really changes the way that people look at Tourette's that much. I mean, what I think it does mostly is it has this type of content has given more awareness about the fact that Tourette's exists, and it's so much more varied than the documentaries that we used to have, that probably many people have seen, that are all over YouTube. But still, this is so much more awareness than we ever had. And I think that many people that come from that might even be watching my videos right now, that got interested in the topic of Tourette's, that might think it's fascinating, which it is. It's a fascinating disorder, because they started watching more quirky, fun, viral, entertaining Tourette's TikToks. And even though they might not be super educational or nuanced and just show one side, I only show another side of it. I don't show everything as well. I mean, everyone has that choice. I don't know. I think it just gave more awareness, and that's a plus, and you don't have to enjoy it. But that doesn't mean that it's fake, and it doesn't mean that they should not be allowed to be there. I honestly, what I love about the internet and this whole, and you know, YouTube, especially YouTube, and this type of video, social media, is the ability to show ourselves without most censorship or without the gatekeeping of major news platforms and stuff like that. And that's a plus, but it also means that there will be people that do stuff in a way that you don't like, but it doesn't mean that they are not allowed to do that as well, because that's the whole point of it, is that people can do stuff their own way. And I think the best way to, if you don't like something, don't look at it. Don't trigger yourself by watching something that you don't enjoy. I've been ranting a bit too much about that now. What I love to know is for people that do look at others and try to figure out if they are faking, what that is, especially on social media. I know that there are people also kind of questioning about someone in their direct surroundings. I want to make a more specific video about that. This is more about the nature of social media, but in short, most of the things I'm saying are the same, and I think that these people also need support, because most people with Tourette's have this issue of people not believing them. I think being a good friend is the best, and if you can't be that person to support them through this, then don't attack them. That's in short what I would say. So if you're someone that on social media does this, I'd like to know exactly what it is you get out of it, and what the things are that you look at, and why you think that's so important. I really want to know that, because I had some theories, and I'd love to know if you agree with them, if I missed some points. And if you do have Tourette's, if there are videos that you don't enjoy, if you think that those are really harmful or not, and how you are affected by this movement of people calling people out for faking, how you think about that. I'd love to have a discussion about this. Again, I don't want this to become a fist fight in the comments. I don't usually censor my comments. I usually reply to all of them. Usually they are really nice, but just in case, because I know that I'm asking something from two like opposing groups. We shouldn't be opposing. We should have a healthy discussion. So if stuff gets really mean, I might go in with a sledgehammer and mute some people, but I don't expect that will happen. I haven't had to so far. So yeah, I've already been talking for a long time, and I'm going to try and edit this, because again, I edit everything. See if I can make some sense out of this. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you agree? What are your thoughts? I honestly want to know. If you think this was at all useful, leave a like and subscribe, please, if you want to, because you know, the algorithm, I might just disappear from your watch list if you're not subscribed, because that's what the algorithm does, and then I just disappear, and I don't want to disappear. And maybe share it with people that you might think would enjoy this, that might need this, that might need to hear this. Maybe someone that you wish to tell that you understand that they're not faking, that you hear them. If this video is something that you might think that would help, share it with them, because you are valid. I believe you. No matter where your symptoms or tics are coming from, whether you have an official diagnosis or not, if you are going through tics, I believe you and I support you and I wish you all the best. And if you don't have tics, I also wish you all the best. Because yeah, I love you all so much. Truly do. And I hope you have a great day wherever you are. There might not be a video next week. I'll try. I'm going on a trans group camping trip, so there might not be a video, but I'll try. Anyways, love you all. Bye.